From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, this is Iowa Ag Matters. I'm Riley Smith. In today's show, Mark visits with Jared Benson of Syngenta. I talk about Optimum Series tractors with JE Cadle of CaseIH. And Dustin wraps up his conversation with U.S. Soybean Export Council CEO Jim Sutter. Now here are your hosts, Mark Magnuson and Dustin Huffman.
Well, we're going to start off today's show with a little bit of an announcement here and a remembrance of a farm broadcaster that, even though he was not located in the state of Iowa, Dustin is a broadcaster that had a presence that was felt around the country and really one of those farm broadcasters that was a household name for many people.
Yeah, that he was. And of course, if you haven't heard already, we're talking today about Orion Samuelson, the legendary voice of the farm reports at WGN in Chicago, worked with greats like Harry Carey and Paul Harvey, and of course, our friend Max Armstrong and many more. We learned the news late yesterday afternoon that Orion sadly has passed away at the age of 91. He is one of the broadcasters that really needed no introduction. He was one of the original founding members of the National Association of Farm Broadcasting. All of us that do this job around the country owe a debt to him. He helped pave the way for the industry to go and broadcasters to be taken serious by the ag industry. And of course, he always was called the farmer's best friend, and he was. He took the time to talk as passionately about trade as he would about a 4-H project at a county fair. And so he was a great guy. He mentored many farm broadcasters, even gave just even a passing word of advice. I know a lot of the younger broadcasters, maybe in the last 5-6 years, haven't gotten to really know him that well because he hadn't been coming to the NAFB conventions as his age was starting to become an issue and other health issues. But those of us that did get to know him, in fact, one of my first encounters with him actually was my first encounter with him. I fondly remember this, and something I will always remember was I was talking with a couple broadcasters who were just getting to know me. It was my first year at the NAFB convention that we go to every November in Kansas City. And I was just talking to them, and they were asking what I was doing when I was working up in Minnesota to help with. I was telling them how I was trying to revitalize it a little bit. It had fallen off in the last couple of years. And so I was trying to revitalize it. I was trying to do this, that, and everything else, try to grow a presence for it on social media to help get the information out. And I was talking about what I was doing with video broadcasts and trying to do all that kind of stuff. And I said, I just wish I could do more. And I did not know that Orion had been standing behind me with another group of people and had been apparently hearing what I was saying. And all I remember was his hand coming on my shoulder. And I turned around, I heard that voice, and he said, "Young man, you're doing enough." He said, "Just do the important things well and you're going to be fine." And it was something that I really took to heart. And yeah, he was a great man. He always had time to talk, always would say hello to everybody, remembered people very well. And so he was quite a guy. And again, the farm broadcasting community right now, and of course, agriculture in general, those who have known his voice and heard his voice across the country, a little sadder today, as again, Orion Samuelson, legendary farm broadcaster at WGN in Chicago, has passed away at the age of 91. But wanted to start off the show here talking about that. And of course, it's St. Patrick's Day. The markets were in the green to start the day, Mark. I know we're going to be talking with Joe Camp of Comstock here in just a few moments, but about an hour after the open, we saw corn dip to 2 to 4 cents lower. It had been about that high earlier in the overnight session. Soybeans weakened a little bit from their strong positions to start the overnight session, but we saw a little bounce back. So we're going to wait and see how this plays out. Joe Camp of Comstock talking with Mark Magnus, especially after the limit down yesterday. We're going to find out what's happening in those grains.
Joined today by Joe Camp of Comstock for the opening market discussion. Joe, what's happening with the trade in the grains after a very wild Monday opening?
Monday to open with a limit lower move on soybean futures, soybean oil down as well. You've got this pressure all of a sudden coming after the weekend announcement that President Trump's requesting a delay, is the quote-unquote phrase in the headlines, for his visit to China and that face-to-face meeting with Xi Jinping. Now, these headlines again talking about delay, possible for logistics. You could understand that with all that's going on in the Middle East now, having flared up since this meeting was set. and the security risk that's out there, as well as there still needing to be more done, it would seem, on trade negotiations to have some points of agreement for those two leaders. The next thing, though, would possibly be these comments to follow up, which would there be any concessions from China or the U.S. to get things moving in a show of goodwill. A lot of unknowns, but that risk of it all and the uncertainty was definitely a negative to start out the week. We're bouncing just slightly here overnight on soybean futures, but off the highs. Same with corn and wheat now, down from where they were.
And then, Joe, also comments from the Chinese side that they want to purchase United States ag products, but pork, beef, and other commodities, not including soybeans.
Yeah, interesting development, and maybe one that would help the livestock. We could talk about their higher start for the most part. Cattle, certainly. You talk about, as an aside, too, strong pork exports to start out the year. All of that takes feed. We know about the limited feed demand that we've had relative to the screwworm issue, but we draw that back to this possible lull in demand then, and a letdown certainly for soybeans in particular, to mention then that possible not living up to the earlier promise for this season's purchases would then the purchases from Brazil advance, or is it for the time being the case that China is plumb full, if you will, of previously purchased soybeans, not to mention the roughly 3.5 million tons of U.S. soybeans that we've sold to China but not yet shipped. They've still got to get those in as well. So a lot to factor in after the beans had such a run the last couple of months. We're talking about futures up $1.50 plus, but then it's the conversation about the elevator down on a day like yesterday where you give up 70 cents all in one shot.
Your local radio station brings you the local news you depend on. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network complements that with ag news, weather, and market updates tailored for Iowa's farmers. Together, we deliver the best of both worlds, local connection and industry expertise. It's all to keep you connected with the heartbeat of the heartland. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, connecting rural Iowa with the news that matters to you.
Back on Iowa Ag Matters, and of course we are not very far away from the planting season getting underway, but the folks at Syngenta talking to Mark Magnuson right now about some of their new Enlist series traits and the enhancements they've got. Mark has more.
Mark Magnuson for the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and I'm joined today by Jared Benson. We are actually at the Golden Harvest booth at Commodity Classic. Jared, though, works for a lot of different entities under this umbrella. Jared, could you tell us, please, your job title with Syngenta and kind of how you fit into the picture here as we're, again, at the Golden Harvest booth?
Yeah, so I am the head of portfolio strategy for soybeans for North America. So I work with all of our brands and our routes to market in terms of how do we deploy our Syngenta genetics and traits out to the soybean farmers in the U.S.
So, Jared, I always think about Commodity Classic kind of being the unofficial kickoff to the growing season. What are we excited about going into growing season 2026?
Yeah, so like you said, this is a big kickoff. And so one of the things that we wanted to do here was kick off and announce the new trait platform that we're going to be launching. And that's the Enlist E3 Expanse soybeans.
And so, Jared, what is the excitement about Enlist E3 Advanced Series soybeans, and why are you excited to talk about them here with farmers coming to visit you at Commodity Classic?
Yeah, so the Enlist E3 Expanse soybeans are going to be giving you the typical resistance to the herbicides you saw in Enlist 1 and Enlist Duo, the glyphosate, glufosinate, the 2,4-D choline, but we're also going to be adding on top of it broad spectrum HPPD inhibitor tolerance. And so there's a couple of AIs. And so this platform is going to bring you the most active ingredients, the most modes of action for resistance. And what that really means is that you're going to have more options to be able to manage your farm, your operation, to control the weeds, to control those weeds that are hard to manage or even have developed resistance already. So it's all about versatility and simplicity for the grower.
And you mentioned it right there too, just options for management, which is so important for farmers. You think about all the challenges that they're facing. They need those options to be able to do all the different things that it's going to take to get through a growing season, right?
Yeah, it's all about options. And one of the things that we're excited about is we're actually not just combining the active ingredients that are on the market, but we're actually going to bring forward a new active ingredient that we've seen to be proven effective in corn into soybeans, and that's bicyclopyrone. So really trying to move the needle forward in terms of simplifying that program or protocol across crops. Again, just fewer passes through the field. Anything that we can do to improve the logistics will help the efficacy of those herbicides.
How does that work, crossing over from corn to soybeans? Is that a difficult transition, or is that something that's pretty easily doable?
Well, some of these active ingredients we've seen successful in corn. There are corn-specific herbicides like the Acuron family that have bicyclopyrone as one of the key active ingredients. Now, our CP organization is working on a new formulation, and they're going to be bringing forward a new product that will have bicyclopyrone. It'll have a mix of probably some additional active ingredients on top of that. And depending upon what the label gets registered as, whether it's a corn and soybean, you would have a chemistry that could potentially go across multiple crops.
Jared Benson, he's located in Urbandale in Iowa. Thanks so much for the time here today, Jared. Really appreciate it, and have a great rest of the show.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ethan Smith, and I've been a certified crop advisor in Iowa for about 6 years. The Iowa CCA program is valuable to me because it helps keep me informed on new topics and research around the industry, including soils, insects, diseases, and much more. It's also a great way to network with others around the state and beyond. Iowa is known for its crops, and that's why we're here. To learn more about becoming a certified crop advisor, visit iowacca.org.
In rural Iowa, you need reliable information. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network brings you ag-specific content like market trends, weather outlooks, and policy updates that matter to your operation, while your local station brings you community news and consistent updates on what is happening in your area. It's a partnership built for the challenges of rural life. Your farm, your local station, and your friends at the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, where Iowa Ag matters. Find us online at iowaagnet.com. Time to take a look at your cash basis bids here on this St. Patrick's Day on Iowa Ag Matters. I'm Dustin Huffman. Taking a look at cash bids around the state, very few elevators making any kind of changes. Let's take a look at where they are pricing today. At ADM in Burlington, they're 20 cents under on corn at $4.36, soybeans 40 cents under at $11.23. Cargill Eddyville 24 cents under on corn, $4.32 for the cash bid. New Co-op Algona 46 cents under on corn, $4.10, soybeans 82 cents under at $10.81. Ag State Sheldon 30 cents under on corn, $4.26 for the cash bid, soybeans 90 cents under, $10.73. Ag State Elta 47 cents under on corn, cash price $4.09, soybeans 85 cents under at $10.78. Cargill Cedar Rapids 21 cents under on corn, $4.35, soybeans 50 cents under, cash bid $11.13. Five Star Co-op Nashua 32 cents under on corn, $4.24, soybeans 74 cents under at $10.89. Lincoln Way Energy Nevada 28 cents under on corn, $4.28 for the cash bid. ADM Des Moines 50 cents under on soybeans, their cash price $11.13. New Co-op Red Oak, they're 36 cents under on corn, $4.20, soybeans 82 cents under, $10.81. Mid-Iowa Cooperative Green Mountain 51 cents under on corn, cash bid $4.05, soybeans 85 cents under at $10.78. New Co-op Sheraton 36 cents under on corn, $4.20, soybeans 82 cents under, cash price $10.81. Walk-On Feed Ranch today, they are 45 cents under on corn, $4.11, soybeans 73 cents under at $10.90. New Co-op Glidden 44 cents under on corn, $4.12 for the cash bid, soybeans 82 cents under, $10.81. Innovative Ag Farley 50 cents under on corn, $4.06, soybeans 82 cents under at $10.81. And at Cargill Muscatine, the river is still closed for the season. Deliveries are scheduled to resume here next week. Cash corn and soybean bids are subject to change without notice. Always check with your local elevator or making sales to obtain the most recent price. And that's been a check of your cash basis bids here on Iowa Ag Matters. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay informed with the closing market report from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, your essential summary of the day's market activities and their impact on the agricultural economy. Join us for timely updates and expert commentary on commodity prices and market trends with trusted ag market analysts from around the Midwest. Tune in every Monday through Friday on your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate for your daily market recap and insights to stay ahead in the ag economy.
Hear it all the time, the quality of the United States soybean, and that will be the topic of discussion for Dustin Huffman as he is joined by Jim Sutter of the U.S. Soybean Export Council. Why countries are willing to pay a premium for those premium soybeans grown right here in the U.S.
And so, you'll be able to get these more beans out to more customers. Obviously we talked about that, not having all your eggs in one basket, but all these countries, as you're going around and talking to them and establishing more of these trade deals, or at least getting them to buy more, are they really, what are they seeing when they look at ours compared to Brazil's?
They notice this difference in quality. We hear this from many people around the world. If they have their preference, they like to buy U.S. soy. Now, sometimes, like anybody, if the price spread gets too wide, they say, even if I want that, I have to use the other product because it's just not economic. But when there's, they're not telling us, oh, your product has to be cheaper for me to buy it. They'll pay a premium for our product. It's got its limits, just like anything. But I think people, and especially with the work that our team around the world is doing to educate them, I think people are really understanding this. And let's not forget, people are becoming much better at using technology. NIR is used widely in feed mills around the world. People are becoming much more comfortable looking at data and making decisions based on data. So they're not just saying, okay, I want 25% soybean meal in that ration. They're digging much deeper and saying, which soybean meal and exactly how much do I need to have? So I think it really is an opportunity as people become more tech savvy, using more AI. It really is an opportunity to be able to demonstrate the difference and the additional value in U.S. soy.
All right. So looking ahead now to this year and talking about what your kind of the plans are, what your goals are, what are we looking at for 26?
Well, for 26, I'm optimistic that exports will, to these other kind of diversification markets, that we'll see that continue to grow. In terms of the programs that we are operating, we are continuing to really focus on this value idea, trying to make sure people understand the value. Also make sure they understand the sustainability of U.S. soy relative to other origins. And, here in the U.S., I think they take sustainability a little bit for granted. I think people aren't talking about it so much anymore. But in many markets around the world, it is still a very active talking point. In many markets, we see stock market requirements for listed companies that they need to be able to report. What are they doing to support their ESG efforts? Buying a sustainable soy, verified sustainable soy like U.S. That's something. We have the lowest carbon footprint of any soy in the world. So there's a lot of things that are all going together. And our team is out trying to do more than ever one-on-one small group meetings with customers around the world in a wide variety of markets. So we diversify the overall placement of U.S. soy onto the world market.
So, Jim, you guys do a lot to help make sure that our farmers are able to market their soybeans and get them out. Is there anything the farmers can be doing to help make your job a little easier when we do it?
Dustin, that's a great question. And I'd just like to say, generally, our farmers are doing a really great job. We have the sustainability I just talked about, and that goes right back to the farm. The great work that our U.S. farmers are doing already allows us to make those verification claims that we're doing in international markets. I think continuing to grow the high quality soy that people do, and I know a little bit of that is sort of out of the farmer's hands, but making sure that our soybeans let's let them dry down naturally. Let's let them get to the ideal point before they're harvested, as most of our farmers do, and just continue to do really what farmers are doing. We are so honored to have the support that we do from the checkoff, from the Foreign Agricultural Service, that allows us to go and do our work in behalf of farmers around the world. I think it's a great team effort.
Well, Jim, I thank you so much for taking the time once again to sit down and kind of talk about how things are going with soybeans right now and with the export markets. Appreciate it.
Dustin, thank you very much. I always look forward to this, and great to be together with you.
All right, well, we have more from Commodity Classic on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network.
Hi, my name is Ethan Smith, and I've been a certified crop advisor in Iowa for about 6 years. The Iowa CCA program is valuable to me because it helps keep me informed on new topics and research around the industry, including soils, insects, diseases, and much more. It's also a great way to network with others around the state and beyond. Iowa is known for its crops, and that's why we're here. To learn more about becoming a certified crop advisor, visit iowacca.org.
Well, we talked about it as it was happening yesterday, Dustin, but looking back on Monday's price action movement in the ag marketplace, it was quite a day. You think about what we saw with the soybean complex, just the soybeans, we saw soybeans down 70 cents in that front month price. Also a tough day for soybean oil and meal. It was really the entire complex. And we had mentioned it yesterday morning. Kind of the culprit there was the discussion with China. And President Trump had floated that his meeting with Xi Jinping, the president of China, that was scheduled for the very end of March, but now it has been talked about being pushed back because of the Iran conflict and President Trump focusing on that right now and not having the time and the security capability to potentially make that visit at the end of the month. It might be pushed back. And then on top of that, from the Chinese side, mentioning that they wanted to purchase more ag products from the U.S., but excluding soybeans in that conversation. So there was a lot going against the grains yesterday and specifically the soybean complex.
Yeah, that there was. And that limit down movement in the May and July contracts really added weight to what we saw in corn and wheat as well. I mean, we've seen that many times when any of the three main contracts has a big day or a bad day. The others kind of sometimes get caught up in the vacuum of what's happening. And so, yeah, well, today things stabilized a little bit. And then talking yesterday in the daily market summary with Ethan Robson from agmarket.net, he said a lot will depend on how today reacts. If we saw more limit down moves, we could see that we might be in a bad situation. But as he said, if it recovers, it's just one of those reactionary days and it's reacting like you think it would with that kind of news. And hopefully start to see things turn around as things settle, of course. So we've seen it many times before. It just takes one social media post to send the markets in a spiral or in a rocket ship ride. So more Iowa Ag Matters coming up in a moment.
Your local radio station brings you the local news you depend on. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network complements that with ag news, weather, and market updates tailored for Iowa's farmers. Together, we deliver the best of both worlds, local connection and industry expertise. It's all to keep you connected with the heartbeat of the heartland. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, connecting rural Iowa with the news that matters to you.
This is the Midday Market Update on Iowa Ag Matters. I'm Mark Magnuson, joined at midday by Amanda Brill of Total Farm Marketing. Amanda, it was an interesting trading day on Monday. Has that continued here through midday on Tuesday?
Yeah, very volatile yesterday. We had soybeans limit down. Today, a little different. We have corn relatively unchanged, maize up 0.5 cent at $4.54.5. Wheat is weaker, down 4 cents at $5.93.25, but I know a lot of people were thinking maybe we'd see lower trade in soybeans today, continuation of yesterday's sell-off, but we're actually a decent amount higher. Maize up 14 cents at $11.69. Been bouncing around though. At one point, the front month was down quite a bit, so now we're on the high of the day, so that's interesting. But no, the main thing is yesterday's move. Soybeans were down 70 cents in the front. That was pulling the corn and the wheat sharply down. We know it has to do with the delay. Now Trump has said that the meeting will be delayed a month or so, was what he said. So I think that probably takes away some of the confidence of the traders in the soybean pit. And we know the funds are holding a very long position in soybeans. So anytime something like that happens, you have to figure it makes them panic and probably exit some of that long position, which we saw yesterday.
So when we see the immediate bounce back here today, like you mentioned, up 14 cents in the soybeans as we talk right now, does that just mean that the momentum kind of carries everyone along for a big headline like that yesterday, and then we do see a little bit of a bounce back because maybe it was slightly overdone?
I'm sure it was overdone a little bit, but we do have some fundamental reasons for soybeans to be up today. The soybean oil is leading the complex. It's up 2 cents. It's up like 3.2%. It's a pretty sharp move. But then again, soybean oil was limit down yesterday. But I think the soybean oil is following the crude higher. Right now, crude's $1.80 higher a barrel. It's at $95.30. And another important factor is NOPA crush exceeded all trade expectations, and it was the highest level for April since 2020. So we had crush was up at 208.79 million bushels crushed. That compares to 177 at this time last year. So strong crush, higher crude, probably picking the soybean oil up a little bit. Meal's not really doing anything.
What's the best way for our listeners to get in touch for more marketing information?
Best way is just to give us a call. Our number is 800-334-9779.
Start your weekend with insight and inspiration on Weekend Ag Matters from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Every week we bring you an in-depth look at the top ag stories with a recap of the week's biggest headlines. Join us for long-format interviews with industry leaders and policymakers, giving you insights you won't hear anywhere else. And don't miss our faith-based segment with Russ Parker, Food for Thought, offering a perspective that helps bring clarity and focus to our lives. Make Weekend Ag Matters part of your weekend routine. Tune in every weekend on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network.
May corn unchanged at $4.54. May soybeans up 10 1/4 at $11.65 1/2. May soybean meal down 80 cents at $3.11.40. May soybean oil up 2.07 at $66.01. On the Merc, April live cattle up $1.98 at $235.23. April feeder cattle up $4.35 at $354.20. April lean hogs unchanged at $93.50. That was a check of the midday markets on Iowa Ag Matters. I'm Mark Magnuson.
We are back on Iowa Ag Matters, and we're going to take a dive into what's going on in the livestock markets. They started the morning mostly higher. We're going to see if that momentum continues. But what is driving the prices right now? Joe Kemp, a Comstock Investments, reconnects with Mark Magnuson right now.
What's happening on the livestock side of the trade?
We do have that higher going for cattle futures. They are following up from a higher start to the week. It's been more downside volatility to this point, so you can bring back in the conversation about futures being discounted relative to the cash, and then speculatively speaking, the buy the rumor, sell the fact, or in this case, sell the rumor and now buy the fact of the effect of the plant closure in Colorado, the strike here that started this week, and still knowing the limited buying capacity at the moment relative to still short supplies, and that gets back to being fundamentally bullish yet in this cattle cycle that we're in. So the higher cattle futures, they pull the front end of the hogs up a little bit this morning, the back of the curves down a touch, so we're seeing in the hog futures some spreading and indecision for now.
So, Joe, if this continues with pressure on the grain side, is this going to help livestock in the short term?
That may be what we're observing some of in Monday and Tuesday's actions, some unwinding of recent spreads. The funds, though, if they turned bullish like they were shown to be on the grains these last couple of months, I think that's a big part, liquidation of some of the broader investment money that was in the commodity space as a whole, and why that maybe was front run a bit by speculators taking profit on the livestock these last couple of weeks. Now again, they're back to still maintaining strong net longs from a managed money standpoint. So that is still the battle of it in all of these markets, the trader positions relative to who wants to buy what and who's selling what. Of course, those conversations we're having with our farmers that are managing risk in this type of market.
What's the best way for our listeners to get in touch for more marketing information?
We're writing about our thoughts on risk management in the Comstock report. Access to that and all of our contact info, it's up at comstock.com.
Joe Camp, thanks so much for the time. Appreciate it, and have a great day.
Thanks, Mark. Talk to you next time.
Hi, my name is Ethan Smith, and I've been a certified crop advisor in Iowa for about 6 years. The Iowa CCA program is valuable to me because it helps keep me informed on new topics and research around the industry, including soils, insects, diseases, and much more. It's also a great way to network with others around the state and beyond. Iowa is known for its crops, and that's why we're here. To learn more about becoming a certified crop advisor, visit iowacca.org.
In rural Iowa, we know you're sold on your local radio station. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network partners with local Iowa stations to deliver the latest in agriculture news, including grain elevator prices, market reports, and ag policy news. Trusted local voices, trusted ag content. This message is brought to you by your friends at the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, where Iowa Ag matters.
You're listening to Iowa Ag Matters, and it is time for Riley Smith's conversation with CaseIH from Commodity Classic, as he learned all about the latest upgrades to the Optimum series of tractors from CaseIH.
Riley Smith, Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network here at Commodity Classic 2026 in San Antonio. And right now I'm visiting with JE Cadle of CaseIH, and behind us we have the new Optimum series tractor. First off, just give us a basic rundown of the Optimum series and the benefits that it provides for those farmers.
Sure, yeah. So brand new Optims here. We've had the Optim out for about 10 years, but this tractor really is a brand new version of it. So we've extended the range with a 360, a 390, and a 440. And just about everything in this tractor is brand new. The first thing you look at is the styling, all right? That brand new hood, brand new lighting on it, new steps into the cab, really nice, gentle walk-in steps into the cab. And then if you go around to the back, we've got a new tail light with an IH implemented. So we have a callback to our heritage there that really kind of catches your eye, and customers have really been interested in seeing that. So brand new design, but then beyond that, new engine. We've got our 8.7 liter engine in this to deliver that horsepower that we've got. We've got a new front axle suspension. It's independent double wishbone suspension. Really great ride on the road and also in the field. Really takes out a lot of those bumps and things like that. And then this tractor is got an option of a transport speed of 37 miles an hour, 60 kph. So it's a really great hauling, roading tractor, and also it's going to be a great tractor in the field.
And it feels like a great mix of kind of an all-purpose tractor that you can use around the farm. Plus, I mean, we have the planter hooked up to it here as well. Great for the larger implements as well.
Yeah. So, how we have it configured here with duals, we got it hooked to a planter. It's going to be a great planting tractor, a great tillage tractor. But we can put a front hitch and PTO on this tractor and run triple cutters. We can run big square balers with this tractor. It's got a great PTO system. We can do haulage with this tractor. I talked about that road speed. It's also got an awesome braking system to match with that. So it's got a wet disc brake front system. It's got an engine brake that's really best in class. And it's got a great trailer braking system. So for these haulage markets, it can do that as well. So it's a very versatile tractor, can kind of go and do a little bit of everything. And then it's got a hydraulic system as well that kind of matches it. It's hooked to that planter because it hydraulically can run that planter as well. We've got a twin flow system that's 95 gallons a minute. So it allows us to run these big implements. Or, we can run the engine speed down a little lower for maybe an implement that doesn't require that much flow and get a little more fuel efficiency out of it. So it's a really versatile system.
And of course, the cab looking very nice as well, very comfortable. And we know that with the cab being the mobile office for the tractor, farmers being out there 12 plus hours a day, very important to have that to be comfortable and useful as well.
Yeah. One of the comments we get on that cab is just how quiet it is. The fit and finish inside that cab is outstanding, and it is really a very quiet, comfortable cab. So this tractor is a really nice mobile office out there. And so if you're going to be spending those 10, 12 or more, 14, 18 hours, I hear, from some people, the ride you get out of that independent front link suspension and the quietness of that cab, it just really is a nice working environment.
So these new changes to the Optimum series available in hours, this is coming soon?
Coming soon. So this is really the first showing of it here in North America. We'll start taking orders here in just a couple of months, and we should see some available at the end of the year. But this is a model year 27 tractor, so a lot available in the year 2027.
All right, lots of great information today, JE. For anyone who wants to stay up to date on the Optimum series with CaseIH, how can they do that?
Well, you can always go to caseih.com. We got plenty of information out there, or stop by your local dealer. They got the information as well.
All right, thanks again for your time, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. I'll get that microphone off of you.
Hi, my name is Ethan Smith, and I've been a certified crop advisor in Iowa for about 6 years. The Iowa CCA program is valuable to me because it helps keep me informed on new topics and research around the industry, including soils, insects, diseases, and much more. It's also a great way to network with others around the state and beyond. Iowa is known for its crops, and that's why we're here. To learn more about becoming a certified crop advisor, visit iowacca.org.
Stay up to date with the latest in the ag industry with Agribusiness Matters from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Each weekday, we bring you the latest advancements in farming, from new precision ag technology to cutting-edge sustainable farming practices. Agribusiness Matters is also your source for the most relevant ag news, policy discussions, and insights that are shaping the future of agriculture. Tune in to Agribusiness Matters on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, where Iowa Ag matters.
Well, that is going to put the wraps on our Iowa Ag Matters program here for you for today. Of course, you can find all of our programming and information online at iowaagnet.com, and you can find full replays of this show there as well. Thanks to Mark, thanks to Riley, and of course, thanks to you for listening. Have a happy St. Patrick's Day. We'll see you back here on Wednesday for another edition of Iowa Ag Matters. Thank you for listening to the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network.